A New Hope, Nier Chapter 68. You can read all of Azazyel's fan fiction stories by subscribing to patreon.com/Azazyel. I was soon enough smothered into my now creaking bed, which was crying out in alarm with the slightest motion. Having half a dozen very beautiful and certainly not fat androids combined with my own weight resulted in just shy of 3,000 pounds compressing my mattress and for box springs that were not good for the bed as they simply weren't created for such a thing. "White, your hair is on my face," I said muffled as I couldn't escape my position with the twins having taken my arms and Commander White had taken to laying on my chest and deeply breathing in my scent with her extravagant blonde hair having been spread around everywhere as she rubbed her face into my shirt to supposedly maximize her scent absorption. She simply chuckled and began kicking her feet in the air as she tightened her grip around my chest. "Too bad. We missed you," she said simply, but her feelings were obviously well sent across as the rest of the androids tightened their grips over the various parts of my body that they were either holding or supposedly checking to make sure I hadn't gotten hurt while I was gone. I wordlessly kissed Commander White atop her head, making sure to actually touch her scalp with the kiss as I knew her sensors weren't sensitive to feel her hairs being pushed around. "So, what's been happening since I have been gone?" Commander White sighed and looked up at me with a frown before she grumbled as she moved off my chest, knowing what was going to happen to my freed chest, and she was right as 2B and 6E snuck around their commander and took over my chest while the twins complained about how it was their turn. Not all that well, to tell the truth. As was speculated, with the rising ambient masso levels, it might as well be reality warping nonsense, as various parts of the world have completely changed with the resulting weather. Not to mention the more dangerous lifeforms have been at complete warfare with the machine army, as it seems the machine hive mind has some sort of vendetta against the monsters of forming and wants to obliterate them before they can continue to grow. Commander White shrugged, and as she continued to speak wryly, I could see the stress she was under. Well, neither the machine army nor the android forces can contend with the natural lifeforms, with how several thousand moose-sized more solid ants are being born every few hours, and even worse is how their exoskeletons are basically reflective mirrors, so our prominent laser weaponry is basically useless. And that's just a single swarm of ants. That's nothing compared to the reports I have about a clan of flying squirrels who are raiding android and machine army depots for shiny wrenches. Commander White buried her face into her hands as she seemingly was holding in a mental breakdown, but I couldn't help but giggle as she continued with 2B, and the others confirmed her words with grim nods. "We had to fucking grind off all the chrome off of every single fucking tool in Yoarha hands. Do you have any ideas how many tools are chrome-coated or even just shiny in a small industrial complex?" she asked me manically before taking a deep breath to cool down. "I spent more than 1,000 years trying to fight for this damned rock of a dead planet for our great forebears, and to honor the humanity that created us in their time of need. But I am fucking sick and tired of tennis ball-sized fly getting caught in an industrial fan and splattering a poor android with their blended remains." I coughed gently to get Commander White's attention, and all the androids looked at me as I gently pulled myself out of the girl's grasp as I moved so they would all be in front of me. "Girls, I have something extremely important to tell you all. On the next world I went to, humanity is living mostly alive and well upon it." The girls unanimously began bombarding me with questions like how many humans were there, how they were living, were there androids there, until finally Commander White loudly coughed, making the androids all fall silent. "Allow Jake to speak. I am sure we have many questions, but allow Jake to debrief us about the world and its situation." And so I did. I told them the unaltered truth about the world, how it was once owned by a couple of brother gods who screwed the pooch and eventually left, and more importantly about the grim threatening extinction to that world's humanity. Boy, were they pissed to hear a former human was responsible for the untold number of human lives being lost with the immortal witch Salem, and they came to the unanimous decision that once they set themselves up, they were going to dose her with the most potent sleeping and paralyzing agent they could create after studying the insane wildlife of this world, and then cripple her in various ways, and then lastly they were going to jettison her immortal body into the sun. "So do we try to save this world, or do I try to find another world?" I asked, as although it would weigh on my consciousness leaving my team behind, I would make sure to go back to tell Ojpin about Cinder's plan to repay any karma I have with the RWBY world. Because in the end, the world was definitely going to be a resource sink until we could get into space and begin mining meteors for all the resources for Yoarha to build a sizable force. Most important was the fact that I loved my androids more than I cared for the RWBY world. I didn't mind spending more time to find a less hostile world. Commander White shook her head as she firmed her shoulders and spoke righteously. "Jake, it would be the honor of Yoarha to save that world. With your help, we will move our fabricators to that world so we can begin creating infrastructure to purge the world of all its undesirables." When she mentioned undesirables, I couldn't help a worry thought springing up. What's your girls' thoughts on catgirls? They all spoke out unanimously as though the hammer of God bringing down their disapproval, and my heart broke slightly. Disgusting.